Hey guys, and welcome. Today I want to take a look at 7 changes that were made with update 1.1 in Battlefield 2042 and that were not mentioned in the patch notes or only briefly without much explanation. And I think the change that caused the most confusion so far is the new scope, AT 1.25 to 4.5 zoom. It can be found in the attachment overview of the SFAR and the VCAR, but it seems to be available for many more weapons as well, at least from what I heard. I've seen players who unlocked it for the AC-42 for example, or for the DM7, but the problem is that they can't use it because it doesn't show up in the attachments of these weapons. For the SFAR and the VCAR that's different. I unlocked it for the VCAR so far, and even though it's still shown grayed out after unlocking it, I can equip and use it. It's an optic for mid-range with a 4.5 zoom scope and an additional canted iron sight with 1.25 zoom. To switch between the two optics, you have to press the melee button. So the same way you would switch zoom stages on the hybrid scopes. To unlock it, you simply need to do 50 kills while aiming down sights with a respective weapon, and that's not much compared to the requirements for other unlockable scopes. At the moment I'm not sure if it's a bug that the scope can't be used on other weapons, or if it should only be available for the SFAR and the VCAR and it's not intended that it unlocks for other weapons. I have no idea, but I'm sure we will hear about it at some point during the next weeks, or latest with the next update in August. But for now it seems like you can only use it on these two weapons. Another change that was made, and that a lot of players surely recognized by now, is that Sundance's grenade belt was reduced to only 1 grenade at a time. So instead of throwing 2 grenades shortly after one another, you can now only throw one, no matter if it's a shatter or an anti-armor grenade. But what has changed as well is the cooldown for the grenade, so the time it takes until another one is available. Before the update it was 20 seconds and now it was lowered to 15 seconds. And it feels like this is a good balance now. It doesn't take forever anymore until you have the next grenade available, but it also reduces the massive grenade spam we had lately, especially on the underground objectives of exposure. Overall, it doesn't feel like an unfair nerf of her ability. Of course, you can't do these massive multi-kills anymore, but it's still possible to get a good amount of kills in with it. In addition, DICE is also looking into changing the requirements for Sundance's mastery now that there's only 1 grenade available at a time, but we shouldn't expect any changes here very soon. Another one of the specialists that was nerfed with update 1.1 is Casper and his recon drone, but not so much the drone itself, more the drone's ability to carry C5. Before the update, the C5 drone was a pretty annoying thing for most tankers and vehicle drivers, cause it was almost impossible to counter and destroy a tank in one blow when fully equipped with C5. Now this is not possible anymore. When you equip the drone with C5, it will get so slow that it's impossible to reach a tank or vehicle before getting recognized by the driver or one of the gunners. Depending on the size of the map, you might not even reach a tank before the end of a match with that speed. It also depends on the amount of C5 the drone has equipped, so with 1 C5 it's still a bit faster than with all 3 explosives. But even with only 1 equipped, its speed is significantly slower than before and it's almost useless. So that's basically the death of the C5 drone in Battlefield 2042. I'm not the biggest fan of this nerf, to be honest, cause stuff like this is also what makes some nice Battlefield moments, but there were so many complaints about it that DICE had to do something. I still hope they will revert it a bit and give it at least a little bit more speed again, so it's not completely useless, but yeah, that's the solution for now. And the last specialist that got another ability taken away is Angel. Cause before the update, I'm sure you all can remember that Angel used to give armor to the players that he revived. And even after the armor pack was taken away from him a few updates ago, he was still able to give armor with a revive, but this ability was also removed now. Instead, Angel will fill up your ammunition now when you get revived by him. This was also changed in the specialist's description now, and the whole armor part was completely removed. When you play as Angel yourself, you can also see that when you revive a teammate, you not only get XP for reviving now, but also for resupplying at the same time. Another change that was made, not to a specialist, but to soldier movement, and that I personally missed for a long time, is the ability to crawl while aiming down sights. So when you are prone and you are aiming down sights, you can now slowly move forward and backward and to the sides. This is of course much slower than the normal crawling, but can be pretty helpful if you get under fire and you want to crawl back behind a rock, or you want to peek around a corner while aiming down sights and check for enemies. Before the update, this was a bit annoying since you had to crawl to the side and then aim down sights, and if there were enemies around, you were already dead before you could pull the trigger. And now you can look around the corner while aimed down sights already, which makes it much easier to react to enemies. So that's a pretty good addition, and also gives me the hope that one day we might even see a manual leaning feature in Battlefield 2042, cause that's what I miss as well, but let's see if this will ever come. A change that was pointed out by some of you guys, but that's not actually new but only returned to the game, is the different layouts for the breakthrough mode. Back then in May, when DICE removed the 128-player breakthrough version, they had planned to keep some maps in the 64-player layout and some in the 128-player layout, but always only with a 64-player count. But due to some technical issues they had back then, they removed all the 128-player layouts and only kept the 64-player ones. And this has changed with update 1.1. The technical issues seem to be solved, which means we have different layouts for some maps now, like it was initially planned. So for Discarded, Manifest, Orbital and Kaleidoscope, we have the big 128-player layout now. And for Breakaway, Hourglass and Renewal, we keep on playing with the 64-player layout. I can't tell you about the new map Exposure cause I haven't played it in Breakthrough since the last update, but if you have played it, maybe you could tell us in the comments below if it's still the small setting it launched with, or if anything has changed and the map is bigger now, has more sectors, or the flag locations are different or anything. That would be nice. In solo and co-op games, however, you will always have the small 64-player layout and the big layout is not accessible over there. And at the end, a quick word to the Season 1 badge that you can find over at the player card screen and then at the Seasons tab. It was already added with the start of the season, and just like every other badge in the game, it has 5 tiers. To level it up, you need to collect Battle Pass points either by earning XP or completing the weekly missions. Unfortunately, it seems like this one has some problems counting the points properly. So for me, for example, it shows 647 points even though I'm at Battle Pass level 68, so I should have at least 680 points. And I know this is the same for a lot of others, if not all players. But what I also recognized is that the points seem to count afterwards. So when I log in the next day, there seem to be more points out of a sudden than the day before, even though I haven't unlocked new points yet. So there seems to be a little delay between the badge counter and your actual Battle Pass level or points earned. Just so you know that this badge is existing and that almost everyone has problems with it not counting properly. I hope this gets fixed until the end of the season so everyone is able to earn the badge they really unlocked and this doesn't cause any more frustration about the game. And that's it for now. There's surely some more changes that came in unnoticed with the last update, but that's what I found so far or what I thought would be important for you to know. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to drop a like or a comment below and subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for more content like this. Until then, thanks for watching. I'm the Catwoman and you are awesome.